Good afternoon and welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish speaking neighbors. Buenas tardes, gracias por estar con nosotros hoy día en 3 p.m. con SOC. Si quieren acceso al programa en español, por favor marquen el número que aparece en pantalla. Dasen de cuenta que es un número nuevo. Estamos experimentando con una nueva línea porque tuvimos problemas con el que estábamos usando anteriormente. El número es 571-317-3122. El contraseña que tienen que compartir cuando le contestan la llamada es 437-949-173. Gracias por estar con nosotros. My name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the Executive Director and Lead Organizer for Southside Organizing Center. Thank you for being with us this June 24th, 2020. We have a lot to cover today. I just welcomed our Spanish-speaking neighbors, and so they know, and you all know, you can get copies of the forum, or you can see copies of this video in English or in Spanish on our Facebook page or our YouTube. And the Spanish version is dubbed over, and so folks can see it if you want to revisit it or if you want to share it. It'll be posted here as well if you all want a fast version of access to it. Let me share with you who's going to be on the program tomorrow. We'll welcome back our Health Commissioner, Jeanette Kowalik, and she'll be sharing the latest updates for us on what's happening sort of on the macro view. And then also tomorrow, we have our Deputy Commissioner, Environmental Health, Claire Evers, and she'll be giving us the details of where we are. Really important stuff for you to know what we can and can't do and what precautions we still need to make. We have been with you all along in this challenging time and want to remind you that you can access us always in all the ways you have in the past, except for in person. You can call our phone number at 672-8090. You can email us at soc@socmilwaukee.org, and you can visit our website at www.socmilwaukee.org. We have a whole page dedicated to information, resources, and action you can take in response to the coronavirus. So please do visit it. We're trying to take all that information that keeps coming in and the changes and trying to manage that to make it easier for you all to access. I want to share a disclaimer. Because of the type of organization that we are, we can't always swim in certain waters, always can't weigh in certain ways on issues. So the views and the opinions shared today may not necessarily reflect those of SOC, but we are committed to creating a safe space to bring the hard issues and the dreams that you have to the surface so that we can explore them and discuss them freely. Before we welcome our first guest, and we're so glad that she's with us, I want to share a couple of notes. We don't want to forget what's happening around us and during these times. We want to share how proud we are, the young folks especially, who are at the front lines during the protests. So our solidarity continues to be with y'all and your families for braving the front line day after day, ensuring that our community move forward. We also want to share our thoughts and prayers with those impacted by COVID-19. I know all of us are in some way, but especially those folks who have had a positive test, who have been ill and recovered, and especially for those families and friends of loved ones who have passed because of it. Also, in terms of sharing concern, we want to share concerns with our amigo, Senator Tim Carpenter, who reportedly was assaulted yesterday during a protest. And so we want to make sure that he knows our love and concern and appreciation for him, and to encourage folks um, who are out there, to intervene when you see things happening that are wrong. So, Senator Carpenter, we hope you recover. We're glad that you're in the role that you are. We appreciate you. I want to update you on the meeting that I reminded you about a day and a half ago, and then Marlene reminded you yesterday. So, yesterday was the first in a three-part series of the Fire and Police Commission doing town halls. This was called Bridging the Divide. It was virtual. It was from 5:30 to 7:30, and on the agenda they had a couple of things that folks could talk about. One was the ACLU um, lawsuit compliance update. The other was input into Chief Morales' 6-month review. The third was standard operating procedures. And in general, they allowed for feedback to the commissioners. I'm just going to give you a brief um, summary of what took place so you understand those things and can choose to participate, especially because there's two more coming up. And so for about the first half an hour, they had the ACLU report out on compliance, and then folks got to ask questions about that, and then the commissioners were allowed to say a couple of words. In general, they were just welcoming folks. And here's the summary: 158 people registered to attend. That's more than we see on a regular fire and police commission, not on big days like when SOP 130 was being battled. That's the standard operating procedure to regulating what MPD can do with ICE or not. And about out of the 158 who registered, 108 showed up, and maybe around midway there was 76. So all in all, a good attendance. Once the ACLU compliance update was given and the commissioners talked, there was space for about 20 questions or folks to ask questions. If I had to summarize it, and it's video recorded so you all can see for yourself, the majority of what people were talking about were, to be honest, their disappointment in Chief Morales and disappointment in how our law enforcement is managing protests. That was the majority of that, and you can see that for yourself. I'm just reporting what took place. And then for me, because you only get 2 minutes, I really wanted to allow residents to speak, but eventually I got to ask questions. They weren't answered, so I'm going to follow up. My critical question for the day that wasn't asked, because a lot of other things were asked, was has the Milwaukee Police Department cooperated with ICE in any way since SOP 130 was passed, the revision to it, the upgrade, which only allowed the Milwaukee Police Department to cooperate with ICE if there was a judicial warrant. And so, I didn't get an official answer, so we're going to have to follow up on that. And then there was some confusion over what SOPs we could talk about or not. It was on the agenda, but the city attorney kept jumping in and saying they couldn't talk about those things. So we'll have to straighten that out, help, give some feedback so that next time y'all can freely talk about those things. Anyway, that's the update for that meeting. And we look forward to seeing if there's anything else from there that we can report out to you. Now I'm happy to welcome for the first time in our forum, certainly not the first time we worked with her, our newly elected Alderwoman Marina Dimitrijevic. I was just telling Marlene how to pronounce it, and then now I'm tripping over it. Hola, Marina.
Hola, happy to be here. Good afternoon, Tam.
Good to see you. How's your baby doing?
Well, just like many of the families you're working with, I have my babies full time. I have my 4-year-old Rafael and my 1.5-year-old Zoe.
Oh, I forgot. That's right. You had
yeah,
a segunda.
yeah.
So and you got
Not
them at
many of us
home.
have childcare right now.
See. Well, we're glad you made the time. I'm also going to welcome, because I wanted to make sure that I welcome you because I was looking forward so much to you being with us, and now I have to run off.
Okay.
But I wanted to say hello, and you're going to be in great hands, as I'm sure you've already known. I'm going to invite on our civic engagement manager,
Mhm.
Gabe Charles, and we're really looking forward to all the great things. We expect only all the best that we saw you do at the county level.
Thank you.
Gracias. All right, y'all. Thank you.
Bye, Tammy. Thank you.
Yeah, so how about, for the record, I think it's very important for everyone to know how to pronounce people's names. So how about you let us know exactly how to say it, because I have heard multiple different pronunciations.
Well, that's why most people just call me Marina, which is fine.
Okay.
But no, certainly it's a challenge. It's Dimitrijevic. So
Okay.
Marina Dimitrijevic. The J is like a Y.
Dimitrijevic.
Yeah, my
Perfect.
father came here from Serbia, so it's a Serbian name.
Well, continuing with that, how about you just tell us a little bit about yourself, about your role as Alderwoman, and maybe even a little bit about what made you want to move from the county board and to serve on the Common Council, if you're willing.
Oh, for sure. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Marina Dimitrijevic. I am the newly elected Alderwoman for District 14, which is our near South Side and Bayview neighborhoods. Before this, I was a longtime friend and ally of the South Side Organizing Committee, as I represented similar areas and even a little bit further west on the Milwaukee County Board in District 4 for about 16 years. I live in the Bayview part of the district with my family. Um, my husband, Eduardo, is from Uruguay, so we do speak Spanish at home. And I have children living at home. My son Rafael, my daughter Lucy, or my stepdaughter Lucia, and my youngest daughter Zoe. And we're proud MPS parents. I'm a proud MPS graduate, and we've been on the job here at the city for the past 2 months. I just want to take a moment to let your listeners and supporters know that también hablo español. Soy Marina Dimitrijevic y trabajo en la ciudad para ustedes. Y si prefieren o quieren hablar con nosotros en español, estamos dispuestos para ayudarte con todo lo que precisan en la ciudad. So I'm happy to help anyone with the city services. And to answer your question about why I moved from the county to the city, first of all, I want to thank the residents for voting for me to be able to do that. And we won with a little over 70% of the vote a few months ago. And I've always had a passion for city issues since I've lived in Milwaukee my whole life. And some of the areas that I've started working on are environmental sustainability, voting rights, neighborhood development. Housing was a passion of mine at the county. So it's an extension of some of the work that I worked with at the county. And I think that I'll be able to work on it in a different way at the city. And lastly, I'm excited. As you can see, I'm a working mother, like many of you that are listening. And we did make history in electing the most women ever to the Milwaukee Common Council. So it's pretty exciting myself and Jocasta Zamaripa. So thank you.
Thank you for that. And yes, definitely congratulations for being elected to your role and for helping make the Common Council historically the most women it's ever had on the council. That's amazing. And as a woman, it's always inspiring to see that representation grow politically or anywhere. So one of the first things that you did do in your new role as Alderwoman was to introduce the Safe Vote program. How is that progressing, and what has your work with the Milwaukee Election Commission looked like since developing this program?
Thank you. My final election, the general election, was the most probably so far in all this pandemic interesting time of my life. For all of us, many of us were struggling with, should we head to the polls to vote? Should we order an absentee ballot? We know there were many challenges, and after I got through that and was successful with the victory in that election, I said, we can never let this happen again. It was too chaotic, and no one should ever have to choose between their own personal health and safety and their constitutional right to vote. So that's where we came up with Safe Vote. And it's a way to expend city resources, communicating with city residents, and focusing on and vote from home type of election. There's many states that actually already do this, but I wanted to make sure that the city of Milwaukee, when we have some of the most important elections in our lives coming up, I mean, everyone's important, but both August and November, the city through the Safe Vote program will send out information packets to city residents on, number one, how to register online. And that's important because you need to be registered online to vote in order to ask for your absentee ballot to be mailed to you. And we're really encouraging people to do it. It just takes a few minutes. If you have internet access, you can head on to My Vote Wisconsin, so myvotewi.gov, to make sure you're registered, check your registration in case you've moved. And right there, within a few minutes, you can register to receive an absentee ballot in the mail and basically vote from home. So the program also works with our libraries for those that may not have a smartphone or internet access. That can be challenging. And our libraries will have kiosks ready to help you out with the process and allow you to upload your voter ID that's necessary. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's pretty new for the state of Wisconsin, but we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can in this pandemic to protect the vote.
Awesome. And then I know at the last Common Council meeting, the appointment of the executive director of the Milwaukee Election Commission was put off. Do we know that that's going to be, are we going to be hearing from the appointee on Monday at the Judiciary and Legislation Committee meeting?
Yes. Yeah, in a move that was unanimous from the Common Council, which is pretty powerful. Unanimous is hard to get anywhere, right? Even
Definitely.
but I think it sends a strong message that we're not going to be interested in business as usual in the city. And what it was a strong signal that we want to ask every leader inside, I mean, certainly outside, but it starts with us and being an example inside city government. Essentially this question: how will you use your leadership and your resources as a department head, from the election commission to fire and police to the city engineer, to promote, uplift, and protect Black and brown lives? And it's an open-ended question, and we hope that each individual and collective agency will be able to articulate what they're able to do to go above and beyond in an extremely important moment that we're having right now in the city of Milwaukee and across the country.
Awesome. Yeah, we definitely look forward to hear from those who were appointed by the mayor. So definitely looking forward to those meetings coming up. Yeah. So you are the chair of the Public Safety and Health Committee meeting. Can you give us any updates or reflections on the recent committee activities, or let us know what we can expect from the meeting tomorrow?
Yes. So as you can see, first of all, I'm the first female to chair that committee. It was chaired for many, many years by Alderman Bob Donovan. I've already made some major changes. Some maybe you've noticed or not, but one of them is historically the Public Safety and Health Committee. It was definitely dominated by public safety, which is certainly equally as important. But I did make certain to prioritize our health department, especially during this pandemic. So far since I've been in office, every one of those committees starts with a standing item of the response from our Milwaukee Health Department regarding the COVID pandemic. We start the meeting, it's gone anywhere from a half an hour to an hour and a half with a presentation and questions about how we're moving forward. Because to me, if we don't talk about this and see better numbers and protect our community, and especially those that are more vulnerable, very few things matter after that. We need to have the most, healthiest and safest community. And I think that begins with our own personal health. And so that's a big change that I made. Two of the most pressing issues have been obviously the hottest topics of that committee. So it's been COVID, and then police discussion, reform, budgeting, and fire and police commission. We also have the fire department that reports there. Just a week or two ago, after the protest had begun, I called a special meeting to hear from the chief Morales of the police department, our mayor, and the Fire and Police Commission about the city's response to the protests. So we received hundreds and hundreds of contacts of people that had experienced during those protests. And then to tomorrow's meeting that begins at 9 a.m., you can tune in at milwaukee.gov, the city channel 25. You can sign up virtually to speak if you need to. We will be discussing the reappointment of the Fire and Police Commissioner, the Executive Director of the Fire and Police Commission, Ms. Griselda Aldrete, and public comment is always welcome. So we have some important topics ahead of us.
So you can see a comment here. It's so devastating to know that FPC only has one investigator to process all the citizen complaints. What other recourse do we have besides taking it to the streets?
Okay. Excellent question. And I think that's been the frustration with many, not only city residents, but even city officials like myself. We have some true systemic problems. The way that the city budget, city council, mayor, fire and police commission, and the police department all interact is really challenging. I'm not sure if most folks know, but I've been asked a lot about, Chief Morales or even Officer Mattioli, and really important questions to be asking. But it is, as you know, the Fire and Police Commission that oversees that. And with only having very few resources, I mean, there's studies that show that we have much less investigators per police officers than cities our size. We need the resources to be able to do the work. So I agree with the person that wrote that we need to put in the resources to have that. And the plan that was approved at the last council meeting, it wasn't unanimous, but it had an overwhelming majority to look at a 10% reduction in the police department to reinvest it in 4 or 5 strategic areas. That approximately over $30 million, that's 10% of the police budget, could be reinvested in places like the Fire Police Commission, the CCC Community Collaboration, the Health Department, Office of Violence Prevention, and some of the housing areas. So we could go on and on about the areas that we could use reinvestment in, and that's at the heart of this discussion when we talk about divesting from the police department.
Definitely. And I think that's also another reason why it's amazing that you've been uplifting the public health side of the Public Safety and Health Committee, because this is all incorporated into how that 10% could be reinvested into other areas, right? So love to see that. If anyone else has questions for Alderwoman Dimitrijevic, you can put it here in the comments, and we'll try to get those answered. But let's move on then to something that we often encourage our residents to do is to reach out to their alderperson via email. And I'm sure you get hundreds and hundreds of emails, especially in these last few weeks, regarding all of these issues that we've talked about. So how about you? Could you briefly touch on what kinds of emails stand out to you as an alderwoman, and especially as you're scrolling through your inbox, maybe subject lines that catch your attention, or once you actually open them, the structure of it or the content of it? What are some emails that really stand out to you?
Yes. So when you asked me earlier in this discussion why I moved from the county to the city, I think I'll step back a little bit. Why am I even in local government at all? I'm just like many other people that you knew, that are here and that you know and that you work with. A person that grew up on the south side of Milwaukee, went to all Milwaukee public schools. My father is an immigrant from Serbia. My husband is an immigrant from Uruguay. So I'm a mother of young children, meaning that I have the same, similar life values and experiences. And what I love about local government is I have the ability to be that close to my constituents and see the work, whether we've done it, a bus coming by in a route that we protected to save, or a park that got a new playground. I get to see and experience things much closer than being in a different type of government. And I feel that I have a lot more impact on those things. So when it comes to communicating with us at the local level, for anybody listening, even though things are still closed and City Hall is closed to the public, we're still fully operating remotely, probably like many of you. So you can actually call our office numbers. Mine is 286-3769. The first thing I would say, and I know your residents know this, is just make sure you're calling. There we go. Awesome. So the phone number is available. We have them linked to cell phones remotely so we can answer those live or leave a voicemail. It's incredibly important in a phone call or voicemail or email to try to identify yourself as being a district resident. So if you can imagine, we do get hundreds of contacts every day. And in my district, we have high priority to the residents in our district. So identifying that you indeed reside within the district is very important, which comes from making sure you know exactly which district you reside in. And you can find that out on the website. Once you've done that, and it can be challenging, I think, having it be as personal as possible. And I told Gabe a story here that when we were still in the middle of this important movement and having this discussion about how we're going to challenge the systemic oppression that we've seen, the police department challenges that we have in the funding and the divestment and the reinvestment. We as Alder people received nearly 1,600 emails. Many went to all council members. I read almost every single one of them and picked through to find out who was in my district. So what I'm saying is that was really powerful. And every time there was a personal story as to why that item mattered to people, it was highly impactful. But we definitely scrolled through them to pick the people that were in our district so we could get back to them. I actually got back to everybody who had reached out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So identifying yourself, identifying that you're in the district, and any personal, many of these things start out, hey, I'm a single mom in the district. I'm, a working father. COVID has impacted me this way. Personal testimony is really important.
Absolutely. And that makes it all the easier to fight for resolutions or policies or anything when you can tell a personal story from people that actually are from your district. So
yeah. And Gabe, I just want to finalize that with, please know that your voice matters. One phone call, one email, every once in a while, something can fall through the cracks. Follow up, send another one. Hey, I don't, we can't, it would be impossible to get back to people immediately, but we usually say in 24 hours, hey, we've received your message. But just know when we're in a government where I represent, 37,000 people approximately, and 20 people on the issue is really powerful.
Definitely. Well, we really appreciate your time with us. If there's anything else you want to share to leave with our residents and people who belong to your district who may be watching, the floor is yours.
Just want to say we're happy to be here. Thank you for having me. You have a friend in city government that you've known for a while on the South Side. I'm continuing to fight for us. I see something popped up here.
Yeah, it says, as we are talking about communicating with you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. As we are talking about communicating with you, how do and how often do you communicate with your constituents? Oh, that was my last thing to pull up if you had it. I have instituted a monthly e-newsletter. So please sign up for it. We do the e-notify alerts. They'll let you know for when committee agendas are up, when there's press releases, and then my e-newsletter you can sign up for. I send that out pretty much every month. So those are some ways that we do that. We do things like this, virtual meetings. When it's safer to get together in groups, we'll certainly have plenty neighborhood meetings. I'm kind of known. I've had over 100 when I was at the county. I love doing that. It's been hard not to. But yeah, phone calls, emails, we're totally accessible. It's our favorite thing to do is to hear from our constituents.
Lovely. Well, that's always good to hear. We always love to know that the voices of the residents are actually being heard and are cared about. And I think you have definitely expressed that today. So we appreciate you deeply and look forward to having you on in the future.
For sure. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you so much.
All right. Thank you.
So I also saw this before. I see this now. Awesome. What if residents don't have internet or speak Spanish? So as You heard right now, Marina Dimitrijevic actually does speak Spanish, so you can be emailing her in Spanish, and she can respond to you in Spanish, as well as the other alders on the south side. So Alderwoman Samaripa and Alderman Perez also speak Spanish, so you know that you can be communicating with them in Spanish as well. The internet might be a little more difficult. You can go to your local library that has internet, or give them a call. So they have phone numbers, so if you have a phone, you can just be calling them as well. So again, big thanks to Alderwoman Dimitrijevic for coming on, and we do look forward to continued communication and partnership with her and all of the alders of the South Side. Now I'm going to bring on Marlene Zarang, so we can talk about coronavirus and all of the updates and knowledge that she has for us today. So take it away, Marlene.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. So we're going to talk about two things today regarding COVID. There's been a quick study from the Household Pulse Survey data, which is mainly from the U.S. Census Bureau. So I'm going to talk about that and how it's talking about low income and younger individuals are suffering a lot right now due to COVID-19. And then I'm going to play a video with a guest that I interviewed yesterday from 16th Street Clinic. Her name is Dr. Nicole Fortuna, and she's going to talk about the ways that you can wear different masks during the pandemic and how you can keep them clean and how long you can wear them for. So to begin, I'm going to start off with this information. So adults in lower income and younger households who suffered job losses during the COVID-19 pandemic have less confidence that they can pay the next month's rent or their mortgage at this time, and they suffer more mental anguish and food insecurity. These findings do come from the Household Pulse Survey data. So the Census Bureau, along with other government agencies, partnered together to design the Household Pulse Survey to collect and disseminate data in near real time to provide vital insights into how American households are doing during the COVID-19 pandemic. So among households that experienced lost employment income, half of adults in households with an income of less than $25,000 had either no confidence or slight confidence in their ability to pay next month's rent or mortgage on time, compared with 8.4% of adults in households with an income of $100,000 or more. Among residents ages 25 to 39, 33.7% had either no confidence or slight confidence in their household's ability to pay the next month's rent or mortgage on time, while 12.2% of respondents ages 65 and above felt this way as well. Among adults ages 25 to 39, 63.6% reported an inability to stop worrying more than half of the days or nearly every day in the past week, while 21% of adults ages 65 and above reported the same level of worry. Adults in households with an income of less than 25% reported feeling down, depressed, or hopeless. That happened nearly every day or nearly half of the days this week, compared to 19.5% of adults in households with an income of $100,000 or more. Among adults 25 to 39, 32.2% reported feeling down, depressed, or hopeless more than half the days or nearly every day in the past week, while 18% of adults ages 65 and above reported that same frequency. So as we can see, there's a huge impact on individuals who are of a younger generation or who have a low income. So that can include individuals who are older, but they just have a lower income. There's been a lot of stress, a lot of worry around this issue, and many people are losing their jobs. So that's just some evidence for you to show that, you know, it's had a large impact on the current community, and it's had a large impact economically on individuals, because it is an economic public health issue as well. So now I'm going to move on to playing our video with Dr. Nicole Fortuna from 16th Street Clinic. She's going to give us a better understanding of the different types of ways that you can wear masks and how to use them better. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our forum and our COVID-19 segment. Today with you, I have Dr. Nicole here from 16th Street Clinic, and she's going to go over everything regarding COVID-19 masks and the different types of masks and the appropriate ways that we should be wearing them. So I'm going to hand it down to you, Dr. Nicole.
Okay, so I have a couple of different masks to talk to you about today. The first is what I would refer to as a surgical mask. This is like the standard mask that doctors and nurses, and if you go to a doctor's appointment, that you would probably wear. Some people are able to buy these right now out in the stores too. So the way to wear these is to first make sure that you have it facing the right direction. The colored part of the mask usually goes on the outside, and then the inside is typically white. Mine's blue, but sometimes they're yellow or purple, many different colors. When you're picking up the mask or touching it, you should try your best just to touch the little strings on the side or the ear loops and like the edges, because you want to keep the inside clean. Before you put the mask on, you should make sure that you kind of stretch it out. There's these little pleats that should expand, and those will help the mask stay on your face in a comfortable way and cover up everything that it needs to cover up. So you should put the loops over your ears like this, and then make sure it's kind of spread out. And up at the top, you should have a little wire, like a flexible part, and you want to bend that so it's kind of pinched around your nose and even on your cheeks a little bit. Don't pinch too tight. You don't want to make it hard to breathe, but this is the proper way to wear it. When you take it off, again, just try to touch the loops, and you can leave it just like this. Most of the time, these masks are for single use, but you know, as we all kind of know, there's a little bit of a shortage on these. So if you need to re-wear this, it's okay, just so long as it hasn't gotten visibly dirty or looks like it has wet spots. So after you've taken it off and you want to save it for use later, the best thing to do is to put it like inside a little paper bag or even a big grocery store paper bag. That will protect it, but it also lets it breathe because you do want it to be able to dry out. I don't recommend putting it into like a plastic bag or a bag that has a Ziploc, because then mold or bacteria can grow on it. You want it to get a little bit of air. If you live on your own or you have like a private place you could put it, it's even okay to maybe hang it up on like a doorknob or a little hook on the wall, because that way it's protected and it can get some air to dry out. All right. And then if you do reuse these, I would say about 3 to 5 days of use is probably the max that you're going to get. And then, so there's some other, you know, lots of people are making homemade masks right now. My mom made these cute little ones for me. There's all different kinds that people are making homemade. I personally like this style because I think it fits pretty nicely. If you have the opportunity, experiment with some different kinds that are most comfortable for you, because you don't want to be touching and messing around with it a lot. So the same thing, you don't want to really touch the inside. You want to try to only touch the outside or the loops like I have here. And I also have a little wire in this one, so I put that up at the top, put it over my nose and the loops around my ears. And then just kind of pinch again, just like the other masks. with any kind of cloth mask that you're using, you do want to wash these after every use. Now, maybe you'll put it on for, a minute or something just to pick up some carry-out food. Okay, you don't have to wash it right away that time. But if you go out to the grocery store or anything more than just a few minutes that you're wearing this mask, you really should take it home and put it in the wash on hot. So maybe you can wash it with like some other t-shirts, or maybe you have a collection of masks and you can wash them, save them up and wash a bunch of them at once. And then you have to give them, plenty of time to air dry. You want it to be completely dry before you wear it again. And, so you might, if you can, at least have two. That way you can rotate them out if it doesn't dry quick enough for you. I don't really recommend putting it in the dryer because sometimes they start to fall apart. Besides those kinds of masks, some people are using or finding the N95 masks. Those are the like higher tech masks that are really designed for doctors and nurses and other healthcare professionals to be using in situations in the hospital or in the doctor's office where they're doing testing for the coronavirus, or where they're doing breathing treatments or other things that are higher risk for getting sick with coronavirus. So I'd really recommend that you leave those on the shelves, save them for the professionals who need the extra protection in those situations. Even doctors like myself, when we're in clinic just doing our regular duties, we're just wearing the paper surgical masks. So you don't need those to be protected in everyday situations. Then besides that, if you can't get your hands on any masks, you can always just use some other type of cloth face covering. A bandana is kind of a nice weight material that you could tie around your nose and your mouth. Also, you could use like a thin scarf, not a big, thick, heavy winter scarf, because that might make it hard to breathe, but a thinner scarf would work well too. And really the same rules apply with those kinds of things as the cloth masks. You should wash them after every use.
Well, do you have anything else to add on?
No, I was just going to say, I think that covers it.
Yeah, I think so too. That was really informative, and it's truly like the basic information like that a lot of us are lacking, and we just don't have any information about it right now. So it's good that you came on and kind of explained that to the south side of Milwaukee and how to appropriately wear those masks. Well, I want to thank you for having us on, coming on the forum, and we appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Wow, I think even this far into quarantine and into the pandemic, that information is still so necessary. So thank you so much, Marlene, for doing that interview and getting us that information on masks, and also for sharing those figures about how the pandemic is affecting people mentally. And I think it comes at a good time to do Mental Health Week, to give people different information about what mental health looks like and how to manage it and be taking care of yourself and your mental health. So thanks for that information. I think it's also interesting to see different ways that the data that comes from the census can be employed. So it's the Census Bureau that helped get that information together. So it's just another thing to consider when asking yourself, why is it important to do the census, and encouraging others to do it. So thanks for that information, Marlene. As always, you are providing us with some really vital information. So thank you. I just want to take some time to say hellos. We haven't said hellos to our viewers yet. So Elsa, hi. We have Maricano, Eduardo, Esperanza, and Barbara. Thank you for your questions earlier, Barbara, and also from Carlos saying, I love the mask info. Thank you, Carlos, for being with us, one of our beloved staff members. So segueing into the census, I just mentioned how it's interesting to see different ways that the census data can be employed or analyzed by what Marlene was saying. So let's just take a moment to have a fun census video come on, and we can have a little smile. It's one we've shown before, but we haven't shown in a while. So go ahead and play that.
Oh, my friend, you're finally up.
What happened? Did we get counted?
Yes, we got counted.
And the kids got counted too?
Yes.
Oh, thank God that we went counted. What about Luis Jose?
Luis Jose forget to say his survey. No! But someone from the census is going to come hate him.
Oh, thank God.
I think it's so special, people that take time and organizations that take time to make videos like that. The fact that we have a novela for doing the census, I think should show everyone how important it is to folks to be doing it. So please take the time to fill out your census, be encouraging your friends and family. We're not lying when we say it's important. So please, please, please do everything that you can to make sure you get counted and that your friends and family are counted. And anyone you see on the street, ask them if they're counted. This is super important, and we want to make sure that we are getting the funding and representation we deserve, especially in our near South Side neighborhoods. So now I will ask for our communications manager to talk about the promo for this week.
Hi, Community Forum. Reminding you of our daily $25 gift certificate drawing by filling out the survey located in the comments section. In the following day's forum, we'll announce the winner. It's a quick 5-question survey, and you can enter daily and win daily. Thanks for those of you who have been filling them out, and thanks for tuning in. Now let's find out who's today's winner.
So today's winner is actually someone that's watching with us right now. Elsa Diaz Bautista, you are the winner for today. Felicidades. Please contact SOC to make sure that you get your $25 gift card. And then we do know that we forgot to announce the winner from yesterday. So we are people of our word, and there was a winner for yesterday. Maria Ordóñez is the winner from yesterday. So please contact us to get access to your $25 gift card. Just want to remind folks that coming up this week, we still have some great guests for you. Tomorrow, Claire Evers will be on with us, the Deputy Commissioner of Environmental Health, who's been with us a couple times on the show. And then we'll also have Jeanette Kowalik, the Commissioner of Public Health here in Milwaukee, and both will be discussing many important things tomorrow. So you'll definitely want to tune in and listen to what they have to say. And with that, I just want to say thank you to everybody for being with us today. I know that we've been doing this for a long time, and those that are still watching or just starting to watch, we have a lot of love for all of you. So thank you. And I will leave you all with a thank you video from our viewers. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hello, viewers. I am Esperanza Gutierrez, a longtime resident of the near South Side. We would like to thank everyone for supporting our 3 o'clock with SOC live show and for completing our SOC survey. In addition to thanking our residents for tuning in and sharing our show, we would also like to thank the following sponsors: Wisconsin Voices, Community Development Block Grant, Neo Philanthropy State Infrastructural Fund, the Movement Voter Project, the Catholic Campaign for Human Development, the Silber Foundation, City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention, the Ties Foundation, the City of Milwaukee Promise Zone, and all the faithful individuals who support SOC through their personal donations. Thank you. Gracias.